Life can call a timeout at any time. In March 2020, life called a timeout for the entire world through a global pandemic. And during that time, many reconnected with their true selves. There was much else to do. Everyone was stuck at home. Many, as a result of being in that space, eventually left their 9-to-5 jobs forever. Sometimes when life calls a timeout, perhaps every time life calls a timeout, it is for the greater good of the person or the people that are experiencing it. Sometimes life calls a timeout through unexpected illness where we can't do anything but rest. And during that time of rest, we receive the opportunity to reevaluate different things in our lives, to see more of what has not been seen, to see life from a different vantage point. Sometimes life calls a timeout through the end of a relationship, or the loss of a loved one, or the loss of a job. Again, it's a time where it feels like all of life suddenly stops, causing us to reassess and reevaluate and make new choices, see our lives in a different way. In June of 2021, my life said, time out. I felt like I needed to take the summer off and not do anything really. My initial intention was for it to be 2 months, July and August. Those 2 months turned into 3, then 4, then 5, and before I knew it, I had taken half of 2021 off. Little did I know that my desire for a summer break would unexpectedly turn into the experience of selling my home and purchasing another home that I paid for in cash. And little did I know that that extended time off would bring me into the experience of financial freedom. Perhaps when life calls a timeout, it is always for the greater good of everyone involved. In March of 2022, I abruptly stopped everything yet again. Kind of beginning to accept that perhaps, just maybe, my life is just a series of sudden sabbaticals. They happen without pre-thinking and without any planning. Perhaps this is just the natural flow of this incarnation of Source called Allison. I go out and I play with others in the world, and then life calls a time out, and I disappear into stillness for a while, retreating so deeply into an inwardly focused experience that I almost cannot recall who I was before this sudden stillness engulfed me. For sure, the one thing this has taught me is non-attachment. This growing series of sudden sabbaticals has also taught me the sweetness of surrender. Each time it happens, my mind wrestles a bit in the beginning, wondering if I'm disappointing others, resisting the invitation to do nothing in a world where doing is the predominant way of being. But thankfully, I simply become the observer of the mental gymnastics that is at play. And it's very much short-lived. I quickly become aware that I'm causing myself mental misery by not simply surrendering to what is, surrendering to whatever is calling me. Most of the mental misery we experience is as a result of attachment to the past, and also our resistance to surrendering to the present moment. Our worry about the past and the future is the source of most of the emotional turmoil we experience. What we experience within challenges is not necessarily the challenge itself, but the heaviness of the story and the meanings that our mind gives it. The situation itself actually has no inherent meaning. It's just here, unfolding, allowing us to choose our own response to it. Within this current stillness sabbatical, I'm navigating a variety of very interesting spiritual experiences. Ignoring the temptation to make it mean anything. Just choosing to let it be there, allowing it to expand my awareness as my awakening blossoms into new phases of being. As I was inspired to create this video, my mind wanted to make it mean something. Ooh, I'm inspired to do videos again. Maybe my period of stillness is over. Maybe I'll come back. Maybe this is a restart. The mind always wants to skip ahead and see what's next and make a decision for what to do. But I know to just let the mind do its thing and to remain in the present moment, not giving anything any meaning. I'm inspired to create this video for this present moment, and I don't know what is going to be next. I haven't read my email in a very long time, so if you wrote to me, I appreciate that, but be aware that my email inbox is not my focus at the current time, and it hasn't been for quite some time. My assistant is on the lookout for any website access issues, but all of the other emails are simply being filed away. I was actually quite intrigued by the sudden inspiration to create this video, as I felt like all inspiration stopped. Of course, I then became very much aware that my greatest inspiration within the last few months has been to simply be still. No desire for a whole lot of engagement with the external world. One can be deeply inspired to be still Inspiration never stops flowing, but our mind can make up that story when life calls a timeout for stillness. Simply surrendering to what is and just remaining in the present moment tends to calm the stormy and often tumultuous waves of the mind. And we then allow the next version of ourselves to be birthed. Right there, within the stillness, when life calls a timeout.
A shaman is a man, in other words, who has undergone solitariness. He's gone away into the forest to find out who he really is, because it's very difficult to find that out while you're with other people. And the reason is that other people are busy all the time telling you who you are, in many, many ways, by the laws they impose on you, by the behavior ruts they set on you, by the things they tell you, by the fact that they always call you by your name, and by the fact that when you live among people you have to be in a state of ceaseless chatter. But if you want to find out who you are, you almost have to go off by yourself. Go into the forest and stop talking, even stop thinking words, and be absolutely alone. And listen to the great silences.